All right, and here we go. We've got Illuminati, who is scripted by Aleph. A pretty strong AI, though it did have some losses early on in the tournament due to two of Elias's aggressive AIs. Yeah, I think that's shown to be Illuminati's weakness on both Arabia and Arena. And so I don't think Illuminati has had much chance to really show off its true strength when it's allowed to really tap into its strong strategies. So from the chat there, we should see Illuminati going for castle drop strategy, so going for war wagons. And the king, I'm not sure if it said what strategy the king is going for, but with Byzantines, I imagine we'll see some trash similar to the previous game. But who knows? We'll have to see. The mill added first by Illuminati. And the king is scripted by Toby, which is limited to the 50 villagers max that the AI could control for the Age of Kings version, as well as limited to all of the AI scripting features that the Age of Kings version had, which is much more limited than user patch or DE. So it's probably not surprising that most of the AIs that had self-imposed version limitations for either like Age of Kings or the Conqueror, those game versions, that they're lower down in this tournament, but that's okay. They're probably not being scripted with the hopes of being able to beat AIs like Immortal, but it's more about the challenge of how can you get it within the constraints of these game versions, and it's fun to see them try and play it out. Alright, so Illuminati's adding a lumber camp. And it's taking a look at Illuminati's base. We do have a Chicken Arabia setup. The stone, which I think will be important for Illuminati, is here in the back. So it should be fairly easy to defend. As well as the main gold, I think should also be pretty easy to defend. I think the only thing that might be vulnerable are the forage bushes if the king rushes, or wood. But yeah, Illuminati did build a lumber camp in the back, which should be nice, but it'll need a second lumber camp pretty soon. Yeah, and the king's gold is forward, and also built a lumber camp on the forward forest, so it could be vulnerable. It's also pretty far away from the edge of the map, even to the point where you can see that elevation, which always tries to avoid the player start areas, is starting to really ramp up at the edge of the map. It kind of looks weird. I'm almost like imagining like you've seen this like a ramp in the Cobra car just like zooming up and then just launching itself into the black abyss. Yeah, interesting. So we have a lumber camp from Illuminati. I don't know if Illuminati uses UP build line to place drop sites, or if this is just a standard lumber camp placement. If it's the latter, then it definitely shows that Illuminati is using a small drop site separation distance. I don't know if this is a capture H bug, but it seems like the player color on this mill is flickering. I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. I briefly checked back in the base game, and that flickering does not happen, so that's a capture age display thing. All right, but Illuminati is going up to feudal age first with 25 villagers. So a pretty good time. I think with the castle drop, you don't want to go as slow as a normal fast castle boom. With like, I don't know. I'm not actually sure what the standard fast castle uptime is for, like, in terms of number of villagers. I think it might be around like 26 or 27, something like that nowadays. But I could definitely be getting that wrong. I think my eyes go for a 29 pop fast castle for the night rush. And I think that might be a bit too passive at this point. The general might be able to do a fast castle with like 28 or even possibly 27 if I was dedicated to adding some changes there. But that's not what Illuminati is going for. Instead, he's adding some defensive towers. We got this one on the guarding the lumber camp, and this one maybe guarding the stone. I'm not exactly sure. We've got a market from Illuminati. And a third tower. This one might be for the mill. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, if it's one tower for the lumber camp, one tower for the mill, and one tower for the mining camp for stone, I imagine that this game is showing that it could be refined a bit. We're just missing a tower for the gold, but gold's not being collected right now, so maybe it's not needed. Alright, so there's a blacksmith. And we might see Illuminati go up at like 31 villagers. And the king has probably been in feudal age for a fair bit now. Still needs its feudal age buildings, but there's an archer range. No blacksmith yet. And also skirmisher and spearman. So it almost has enough resources to go castle age. Let's see if it goes for that or if it tries to attack instead. And yet another tower guarding this spot. So I'm not sure why Illuminati is going so defensive in this one area and avoiding defending other spots like this gold mining camp or this lumber camp here. So we got an attack coming from the king. But they're going to run straight into these towers. And since the king doesn't have any avoidance from towers, these soldiers are probably just going to get killed off. The best thing for the king to hope for is to call off the attack, but it also doesn't have any retreat options. So just hopefully these are the last units that it sends in, and then it'll cancel the attack. Alright, these are going to be guard towers soon, as Illuminati reaches castle age. Going from 5 to 7 attack is pretty nice. I think in, like, before DE and maybe HD, I think our towers used to have 6 attack and keeps used to have 7 attack. There's been a lot of buffs to the guard towers and keeps over the years, but they still don't see a whole lot of play. But overall, I feel like the balance is pretty good for towers. You don't want to make them so powerful that you can, like, if you were like to make them too powerful, then the Korean tower rush could be back on the menu, and I don't know if a lot of players really want that. But we should have some war wagons on the field pretty soon here. And it doesn't look like the king is really trying to give up on this attack. No war wagons yet, but they'll be here soon, I think. We also have a siege workshop. I wonder if we'll see some rocket carts. Alright, so we got a fire lancer. Haven't seen a whole lot of those guys this tournament. We got the first armor for fire lancers, so we should see more than just one of them. And we got rocket carts as well. Yep, and fire lancers don't have the spearman armor class, so they'll be pretty good against these skirmishers. Illuminati trying to add a TC here in the battle zone. Might have to build it elsewhere. Yep, so it's going to get built right here. Not the ideal place since we already got a mining camp here. But it'll be fine, I guess. Rocket carts. With bad accuracy, apparently. But it seems to do a lot of backing up and only firing some of the rockets, which is unfortunate. Yep, the king needs a market, but it's using up all of his wood. He doesn't have wood to build a new lumber camp either. I don't know if the rocket cart's being controlled by just standard AI micro, but it looks like rocket carts might be something that requires a bit more DC controls so that it uses all of its rockets. Either that or maybe the unit is actually bugged in the game. War wagon should be pretty reliable though. Alright, TSA is on, so it looks like Illuminati should start attacking pretty soon. Castle Age is coming for the king. And I'm not sure if the king will ever get enough wood for a market or even a second lumber camp now that these lumberjacks are being attacked by Illuminati. Unfortunately, the rocket cart killed one of the fire lancers. And a second one. And then went down. Alright, Ram's already threatening the King's TC, and because the King can't use DEC, those villagers won't be attacking the Rams. So I think we'll see this TC go down. And once it does, I think I'll call the game. Alright, there we go. I think we might have seen some economy imbalance issues from the King, but regardless, there's probably not a whole lot that the King could have done to stop Illuminati's castle drop. Maybe it could have stopped the TSA earlier, but I think it still would have pushed forward. The Fire Lancers, rocket carts, war wagons would have still been in the King's base pretty soon, regardless of if the King added a few changes. Alright, for Arena, Illuminati is either Bohemians or Bengalis. Bengalis this time. And Saracens or Turks for the King. Turks. Alright, so Bengalis versus Turks. Alright, so here we go. Arena. Let's see if this game plays out differently. It probably should. Maybe not in the end result, but the arena usually has a different way the games play out. Sort of a random thing I'm noticing is that so far today I haven't had to change the AI player names at all. I wonder if there's a Capture Age update or a game update that kind of fixed that. I did have to install a Capture Age update before starting the stream. So if that was part of the update, that is really nice to see. I think it's kind of annoying to have to change the player names all the time. But we've got Bengalis from Illuminati, so I forget if we've seen Bengalis from Illuminati, and I am forgetting which strategy they go for. I'm thinking monks, but I'm not positive. Meanwhile, I think we've seen the King and playing Turks in Arena before. I think it'll go for a fast Imperial into Cannoneers. So we'll see which AI can execute its strategy better. I think most people are probably assuming Illuminati, since it has some pretty good monk control, and it also has a lot of the user patch and DE features. But we'll see if this game is able to be interesting here. Alright, so Illuminati has brought in pretty much all of his food except for the second rhino. And it's a deer arena, so that could definitely favor Illuminati if he pushes in the deer. And he already has. Yeah, bring in the second rhino. So Illuminati should have food galore. Yeah, if Illuminati attacks first, there won't be a whole lot that is immediately under threat resources wise. The forage bushes will probably be gone. And the important golden stone piles are in the back. And then for if the king attacks first, it's pretty much the same story actually. The main gold's in the back and the main stone's off to the side. And so if Illuminati is going for monks, I'm expecting that Illuminati will be able to reach his strength first and be able to attack first before the king can reach the fast imperial and hand cannoneers. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Yeah, and 13 hunters or shepherds here, which is quite a lot. Alright, some of them are going to forage bushes, or at least they were. And then they're like, oh yeah, we got this deer over here, let's gather that first. We can see the impact of not being able to queue units here. 15 seconds of idle TC time with 0 for Illuminati. Alright, Illuminati is adding Loom. I think we'll see Feudal Age start after that. The king's getting a loom and should be able to start researching Feudal Age after the loom. Probably doing one more villager. Maybe at 29 villagers the king will go up. Scat battle? Okay, doesn't look like it, just passing. As expected, market and blacksmith for Illuminati, and we should see Castle Age start soon. A little bit of LTC time. I'm assuming that's part of Illuminati's build, but it's a bit unfortunate to see. It is, yeah, no. I'd love to say maybe couldn't afford another villager on top of Castle Age. It's possible that maybe just had too little food to be able to train a villager and go up. Market for the king, and then a blacksmith. Mining camp for stone. So it does look like the king was able to take advantage of the deer and hunt that. Bit of a long walking distance, but that's okay. I think I see your question in chat about the farms versus forage bushes. I think farms are set to have priority over forage bushes. I can't exactly remember. Either that or the drop distances for farms might be less than forage bushes. Either way, I think there's no control needed to make sure that some villagers go to farms versus having them all go to forage bushes. Alright, so we see Illuminati adding 2 TCs. So we got some monasteries here, so Illuminati should be going for a boom plus monks. And the king will soon reach Castle Age. Siege workshop, and maybe we'll see a monastery. Not enough wood for it. Okay, there we go. This scout was close to getting converted, but doesn't look like it'll finish. Meanwhile, I think it's relic time for Illuminati. It says TSA is on, though. Maybe it'll work this time. Okay, yep, there we go. What this scout is going to do? Looks like it's going to just start attacking. Siege workshop added. And Imperial Age for the king. So we'll see some armored elephants here pretty soon. No redemption yet for Illuminati. Or else I think we'd see the monks starting to attack this barracks. Or atonement and them to start converting this monk. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the code that makes sure that villagers gather from farms instead of forage bushes, like the default behavior, I think will encourage some farming, but I think it's usually only after you have a large number of villagers on forage bushes. It's been a while since I've looked at that and how that code works, but I think it should be more than 0 villagers on farms. I think in most cases I've seen that you usually have a couple of villagers on farms while you have the rest on forage bushes. Look, it looks like this armored elephant will go down thanks to the bomber cannon and the light cav that keeps on getting converted back and forth. But this barracks is going to go down. I think this tower will get cancelled. Will this cannon get that monk? Okay, it's attacking the armored elephant, I think. Alright, but now we're seeing the hand cannoneers, which are just getting converted by Illuminati's monks. And converted back. That one just got converted. Sadly, I don't think we're able to see the conversions in Capture Age at this moment. Fleshing for Illuminati. Yeah, we also have Redemption in now, as well as Atonement, so I think we'll start seeing some monks in Siege getting converted. But unfortunately for Illuminati, all of these monks have to rest their faith because of them teaming up on converting a single unit. Like just now. We got this monk who was converted, and now the cannon. Let's see, is that armored elfin going to attack the gate? And it's not, looks like it's trying to get in. This cannon doesn't seem to be attacking. Taking a look at the game itself, it is on aggressive stance, so I'm not sure why it's just sitting there still. But it does have the stop command for this cannon is available, so it was trying to do something. Maybe it's trying to like attack a gate or something that was inside of its minimum range. I'm not exactly sure. But Illuminati is broken in. These armored elephants getting dangerously close to the TC. Alright, the TC's down. I'm gonna call the game. "29 units converted."